All right, everyone, time to take a look at what happened this week in this choppy market and get ready for next week. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michael Nauss from statsedgetrading.com. What we do every week for years now, I've been going back on the channel, is just take a look back, take a deep breath, see what happened this week, try to get some clues potentially what could happen next week. And then when the market closes, I run all the statistics for Stats Edge Trading, getting access to many more symbols as we continue to build out access to, I think, 30 so swing ideas at max. And then every day, another 30 to 40 potential day trading ideas. So it's been really cool. Had a really wicked day. One day this week day trading. The rest of them have been okay because the market has been really choppy here. So first of all, the market's choppy when we had one swing trade this week that triggered of the many that potentially could have. So that's fine, right? And one of the benefits of being a systematic trader is that I no longer feel bad about that. When I was a newer trader, I was always scrambling for something to trade, but I have my systems. Those systems have a lot of statistics built in. And then what I do is just wait for them to trigger. So we've had this guy right here, ED. We can make all the jokes we want, triggering right here at, say 103, 102.80. And now we are up to 104.80. So a little two-point pop on that one. Again, I'll take it. I'll take it on something like this. We had a couple great exits from other ones. ITOS, I know a lot of people exited from. Pure luck on this guy, but we bought in here on this candle right here at $8, and then it gapped up to 10. So nice 20%, 30% gain on that guy, which was a great little push. So there's been some good action, and it's definitely helped that the SPY has at least seemed to have settled down. The reason that we're not going to be going too deep on what's going on in the equity world is because we are just kind of right here. So we're inside this range. And as long as we remain inside this range, I think that's bullish. I think if we come back down and we test the lows and we test the highs, I think that is really bullish for the market because we have moved so much off of these lows, right? We have gone up, let's see here. From here, 21% at the high. I think it was like 25% from the lows. You rip up 25% of the lows, it seems really natural that the market just consolidates, takes a breath, moves around a little bit. A little bit of a sell-off that happened earlier in the day. Again, I'm recording this around 2 Eastern. A little sell-off that happened earlier in the day, and we've been grinding up to get that ever since. Qs look the same. IWM looks worse because it always does, but looks about the same. A lot of these sectors look the same. Now, looking at some sectors that are standing out, we still have defense. I talked about defense way back here on this breakout. That is just continuing higher. So, grab your favorite defense name, load it up there for sure. That one's doing great. We still have gold doing really well. I was trying to get a little bit of a fade on gold earlier, but the fact that it's holding up so well, even though the market is calming down, that really interests me as well. So if you look at something like DVC, which is our commodity sector, that's doing markedly worse. And DVA, which I think is agriculture, these are not doing nearly as well as gold overall. So the international stocks continue to be on fire, continues to be the place to take a look to put your money. ACWX, this is an index that is essentially the entire world minus the US. What is happening out there? You are seeing a nice push into highs and then some consolidation at those highs. So the rest of the world seems to be doing very well with everything right, geopolitically going on that I certainly won't follow, but can happen. It can have an effect, but we're chopping around there after that big move higher. Right? If you look at today, pretty red across the board with some of these boring ones lighting up. One thing I did want to note though is this hack. So just like defense, how it got to all-time highs way before everything else, because there was a increase in defense spending. Hack is kind of the next one that I'm looking at as well. So that ITA, again, I hold some of that. I've talked about that. That one's doing great. seems like in today's world, if you're going to increase defense spending, maybe some of that trickles down into these cybersecurity plays. And I like that it is green where, the rest of the board here is just ever so slightly red. Solar bounces for some reason all the time when we have dead markets, but most of this is pretty chill, right? What is causing a little bit more hectic, I think, is first of all the dollar, right? So talk about this a lot. What the market wants from the dollar is just stability. I don't think the pricing or the trend matters too much. What companies want is they want to be able to say, if I'm selling something to another country, this is roughly the dollar conversion that I can get. Larger companies in particular generally have Forex hedging teams that just look at, the dollar and how it's moving versus say the Canadian dollar. Say I'm an American company, say I'm Apple, and right, you sell stuff all over the world. So they're looking at the Canadian market and they're saying, okay, we need to hedge how much we expect to sell in Canada with Canadian dollars because we don't want to sell it for X and then the dollar makes a crazy move and we lost money or didn't make nearly as much as we thought. So that's why I think the dollar is so important, is because it just shows that if it can chill here, that is probably generally bullish for stocks. But looks like we had the sell off and then we tried to get back into this range and now we're selling again. So I'm watching the lows here on the dollar and these highs, and that's like on the DXY 98 and about 102. As long as we're inside this kind of range, I think the market would like that. If we break back up, as long as we're inside this range, I think the market would potentially like that as well. If we take a look at cryptocurrencies, however, this is the part of the market that I'd say is more concerning than most. I don't think it's definitely the end of the world or anything, but definitely something we have to keep an eye on and track. Is that Bitcoin? It looked great on this breakout. I talked about this on a video, how the commitment of trader data is showing us that large speculators are still not participating in this rally. They are still net short. However, as of now, it looks like the breakout may be failing just a little bit. So areas that I'm watching on Bitcoin are, essentially draw this one in with a little bit darker, right here, which it broke, and that's like 106. And then if we get, a little shorter term, this area that it broke out is, which we're flirting right here at 104. We've already broken this trend to the downside, so we need to get something to kind of hold us in here pretty well to push us higher, because if we get a failed breakout like this, there was a lot of people that probably chased that all-time high top and they might panic out on the way down. That may send us lower. And the reason that I think it's very important to focus on Bitcoin, even though you may not be a crypto person at all, you don't like crypto, you think it's garbage or whatever, is this a great risk asset for the market. As this was moving higher, so was the market. As it's pulling back, so is the market ever slightly. But if we get a complete kind of dump here, 10% or down to the 90,000 or the 70,000, we get a complete sell off here in Bitcoin. That doesn't bode well, I don't think, for stocks, because I look at crypto as it's going to be your risk off, risk on indicator, has been for a very long time, probably will continue to be, because hey, if I think the economy is going to do poorly, probably not going to spend money on fake internet money out there. If I think the economy may be struggling a little bit, I'm probably going to sell a bit of my Bitcoin first. If I'm flush with cash and I'm looking for investments, that's where I think people are more aggressive to get into Bitcoin. So I think this is a very good sign of telling us potentially what could happen next in markets. So that's something that we need to keep in mind as well. That's the main kind of knock against the markets as I see them. However, if we just continue to be range bound here, just overall, this looks like it's something that should hold, right? And Nvidia, I think, is a great example. This has been selling off a little bit with Bitcoin. This is your risk off kind of signal here. Had a decent earnings and then started to sell. It's not what you want to see. When it comes to things like financials, they're holding up well. It comes to healthcare, they're holding up very well today. So this is one of those tech related things are pulling us down. And quite often, tech is, again, with Bitcoin, a risk appetite thing. So if we're getting pulled down by those, we need to see those at least stop going down or recover. That could propel us out of this base and potentially to new highs because we are very close to them. Seems like the market wants to get them. So what we need to have happen is for crypto and all of those things to, stop going down at the very least. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in and checking these out as always. I appreciate you guys for going and checking out statsedgetrading.com, where I showed some of the trades we have from there. We have our day trading bot and our day trading systems up. Those are doing well. If you're interested in all, making sure you're trading with an edge that you can back test going back 25 years. You can go to statsedgetrading.com. You can check out every single back test for every single system we have. I appreciate all of you that are checking it out. It's been growing very nicely. People have been very happy, and I am happy to give that service to you guys. So thank you for tuning in. Until I talk to you next time, get away from the screens.